All right, hello everybody. I'm here a little early, so I did some researching on how to do a successful Instagram live. And the first thing is to come on live and let it sit live for a minute or so, because Instagram's telling people that we're going to go live. So I'm not going to get into any content now. What's up, Mr. 412? So we're just going to chill, and then I'm waiting for my guest to also. There he is.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good. I was just saying that I'm gonna let it sit here for a couple seconds, maybe a minute. I did some research on the successful Instagram lives, and they say that as soon as we start, Instagram's running out there telling everybody that we're getting ready to go. So I don't want to get into any super content. So just have some general discussion while we're waiting. How you doing over there? Everything good?
Life is good, man.
Healthy?
It looks like you got better weather than anybody right there. That looks great.
Yeah, it's not terrible, that's for sure. The
Yeah.
worst thing is getting a sunburn.
Yeah, life's good, man. Just praying for those less fortunate, those impacted, the people that this is hitting the most. But for me and my family, I mean, it's brought us together, man. We're playing cards together, doing yard work together, having family dinners together, just good stuff.
It's good and bad. And I talked to Nick Bova about this in my last episode. And, it's good that we're all able to be with our pets, our kids, and all that. But it's going to be bad whenever that shock of us going back to work and being unavailable for these long periods of time eventually comes back.
Well, the hope, I mean, for me, like for years, I've been saying, for me, it was more about balance, right? It was never about, we talk about grinding, right? We have seasons of grinding, but I'm 48. I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. I just got married 5 years ago. For me, it's more about balance right now. I still want to deliver outstanding customer service. I still want to help all the people I can possibly help. But man, I also want to be there for my kids because I want to hear their stories, right? I want to know what's
Right.
going on in their lives, and I want to know the players that are in their lives. And man, you get one shot to do this right, and I want to do it the best I can. So mine was more about balance. My hope is coming out of this thing, people know what's really important anymore, right? So that family time, your health, like those are the things that really matter. So that's one thing. I hope everyone comes out of this thing more compassionate, more caring, more understanding, less judgmental. That's my hope. I hope that people come out of this thing better than when they went into it.
It's going to be a huge learning experience, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, listen, let's get into it. So for everybody joining us, if you're on the live, if you look below, there's emojis and there's like a question mark. If you want to ask Jeff or myself a question, if you click that question mark and stick your question there, it'll pop up on my end. You won't see it, but it grabs my attention to it. Sometimes people put questions in the comments, and these comments are just flying up the screen, so I miss it. And then after it's over, I go back and look, and I feel bad I missed your question. So if you want to ask a question, we encourage you to ask questions. I'm the realtor. Jeff's going to tell you who he is in a second. Hit the little question mark button. Like I said, a little thing will pop up, and then I'll get the question answered by myself or Jeff. So Jeff, give us, for people that don't know you, give us a little, 1 minute who we are.
Yeah. So my name's Jeff Lagoni. I'm a mortgage lender with Victorian Finance out of Pittsburgh. I got into lending in 2001. Brian and I went to junior high and high school together. We grew up together. Right out of high school, I was a commercial pilot, for one flight. And it didn't fit me. Like, I didn't want to sit on a plane. I got bored. So I went back to IUP, got a degree in computer information systems. Ended up being a computer programmer for 7 years. Didn't like that either. I was just sitting in a corner all day writing code. And then in 2001, got into lending. So got into this world. The first people I helped were my parents. I did a refinance, gave them some cash. I'm like, go play the poker machines. Paid off their bills, helped them with their monthly payments. It just felt good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so from that point forward, it just worked. Yep.
Right. And you're with Victorian Finance?
Yes, sir. Yep. I've been with Victorian since 2007.
Still a sponsor of Ramp?
Yeah, always a sponsor of Ramp. Absolutely. Yep. And actually, I'm down there teaching classes right now as well.
Whenever this clears.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Is it continuing ed?
Yeah. So I have a continuing education class down there. It's called Taking Your Buyers to the Next Level. So what I'm really doing is helping agents understand what's going on between the lender and the buyer and things that you can be listening for or hearing, because the answer really from the lender should never be no. It should just be not right now. And let's get a game plan in place so that your client can eventually buy a house. So it may take 3 days, 3 months, or 3 years, but there's always a way to get somebody to be a homeowner.
Right.
Yep.
I love that concept. That's great. I'm going to do a continuing ed class as well. We had it all set up whenever this is all done and everything's back to some sort of new, old normalcy. But
Right.
yeah, let's get right into it. We like to hit things on the head here. We're going to talk about COVID-19. I've already talked to Nick Bova on episode 1. Episode 2 is with Jeff Lagoni. So Jeff, I'm going to ask you the same questions I'm going to ask everybody, and that is, how has this affected your business? Tell me what goes through your business day, personal and business. How has it affected you? What are you doing now differently than you did before?
So I have a team, right? So back in 2014, I got to the point where I was working from 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. And that's when I got married. And at that point, my wife come downstairs at like 3 o'clock in the morning and goes, "What are you doing?" And I had explained to her, like, I'm following up with people. Did you fix your credit? Are you ready to buy a house? That kind of stuff. And she said, "You need help." So I built a team, right? And we have a phenomenal team. We've been working remotely forever. So when this hit, it didn't impact our team at all. We were already hitting on all cylinders and everyone was already working remotely. So it's not like people had to set up home offices and get computers set up or anything like that. So it didn't have an impact on us at all, when it first started.
I think that's a fantastic answer, because the real estate industry itself seems to be, over the last couple of years, way before this happened, has been gravitating to a off-site business all the way around. I mean, the real estate offices, brick and mortar offices, are getting smaller, and they even say it's, we want you out there making money. So, we're kind of prepared for that as a whole, in my opinion, the real estate market. So that's good to hear. Clients, what are we doing for clients now while we're in a pause? And for those of you, there's different people watching this webinar are going to watch it from different areas of United States. So in Pittsburgh, to let everybody know, we're in a complete lockdown.
Yeah.
So Jeff, take it from here. What are you doing?
So up to this point, we were doing business as usual, right? And, a few weeks back, if you remember on that Monday, where Saudi Arabia and Russia got into that oil fight, rates dropped. And so in that moment, our phones were blown up. Also, you heard the Fed announce, "Hey, we cut rates to 0." That was on a Sunday. That Sunday, I kept getting phone calls. "Hey, Jeff, can I refinance my mortgage and get a 0% interest rate mortgage?" And we really had to get into what makes up a mortgage rate. So in that moment, there were more locks on that day than in like a decade. So
Wow.
The servicers, the lenders, their coffers got so filled that it became now a capacity issue more than anything else. So lenders couldn't say, "Hey, I'm out of the market." What they had to say was, "We're increasing rates." So Brian, if you followed rates that week, like that Monday, you could lock a 30-year fixed in at 3. That Friday, they were more like 4%. Right?
Wow.
So they were buffering the interest rates because they were trying to say, "Hey, we don't want that much. We don't want this much business." Now, on top of that, they came out with the forbearance, right? Forbearance is really for those people that absolutely positively can't make their payments. They're up against it. Yeah, what you're doing is you're just pushing your payments down the road. So what's happening is a lot of lenders are minimizing their risk. So Chase just announced this weekend they're only taking 700 credit scores with 20% down for new clients. And a lot of lenders are doing that because they're just trying to minimize risk to see how this unfolds. So what we're doing for clients right now is getting them underwritten, getting them pre-approved, getting them in touch with the people that can help them get their scores to where they need to be. So then when it's time to buy a house, they're spring loaded, ready to go, and they're going to get the best, they'll qualify for the best program. They'll have the best interest rate. So we're just helping people get pre-approved to the point where there's absolutely no surprises once it comes time for them to buy a house.
Right, and that's different than your everyday routine.
Can you say that
prior to COVID? Is it different than your everyday routine prior to COVID?
No, prior to COVID, we still did that, right? And so we do a full underwrite. We tell people up front, "Listen, Brian, I'm getting too old. I know you can't see it here, but the grays are coming in.
They better be.
I'm too old for last minute surprises, man." So when we go to take a loan application, we're like, hey, get all your stuff in right now. Man, let's get you cleared to close so you can have fun shopping for your house. Because the last thing I want to do is call you the week before closing and say, hey, guess what? You don't qualify. So we're getting everybody's stuff in now to make sure they're fully underwritten. So when we get that commitment letter, there might be no conditions except for an updated bank statement and pay stub, or maybe a couple conditions, but you won't have a rap sheet. You won't have 50 conditions on there.
Right. Are you seeing any new business come in? Or are you seeing it on a pause, or what are you seeing?
It's slowed down for sure, right? So
Right.
we're getting a couple people coming in saying, hey, I want to buy a house, that kind of thing. We're really busy with refis right now because refinancing makes sense. We have I have a good friend of mine that called in. He's refinancing. We're paying off a few items for him. He's saving $1,500 a month.
Wow.
Right.
Just from refinancing.
Right? We pay off a few things. He's saving $1,500 a month. My thing to him was, hey, take that $500 and spend it on your wife. Do whatever you want. Just make life a little easier. Even if you wanted to, apply that extra $1,000 to your mortgage payment. He'd pay it off in 12 years. And right now, he currently has 24 years left on his mortgage. So there's so much power in a refinance right now that most people don't understand. But it's worth a phone call, right? It's worth looking into. And if you refinance right now, like me personally, just being transparent, I'm refinancing, right? So I'm going from 4.125 to 3.375. My closing is set for May 4th. I won't have a first mortgage payment till July 1st, right? I was ready to say July, right?
That's a good one.
But it's May 4th. I won't have a mortgage payment until July 1st, so I get to skip my June payment, right? And I'm getting my escrows back. So during this COVID, it gives you a little bit of breathing room as well, right? Just to let the dust settle. Yep.
Right. I've heard the refinance market's been booming even before this.
Yeah, it was taking off before this, and even more so now. The one thing I will tell you that has lenders really concerned is the number of verification of employment. So prior to all this, we would be able to verify employment usually within a reasonable amount of time before closing. Now they're asking you to verify employment the day of closing because there's so many people going unemployed that you have to verify that they're still employed the day of closing.
Oh, wow. See, that's good information. That's something I never thought of. And a lot of buyers probably don't know if they've ever bought a home. A lot of first-time buyers. So that's great information. That actually answers some of the questions I was going to ask. And that is, how are you guys affected negatively? What are you seeing negatively from the COVID-19? That's a possible negative.
Yeah. Negative, everybody's on pause right now, especially with the thing that just came out. What was it, Friday? So appraisals are kind of stuck. They can't go into a property from what it reads. But the good news is that Fannie Mae came out and said, hey, we're going to do more PIWs, which is a property inspection waiver. So when we take a loan application, we run it through an automated underwriting system. What we're seeing more of recently is PIWs, which is a property appraisal waiver. Right, so they can do a drive-by appraisal nowadays, or they don't need an appraisal at all. As a matter of fact, on my refinance, I didn't need an appraisal. It got a PIW, right? So that saved me the appraisal money and the hassles of having somebody come in and do an appraisal as well.
And I just want to make sure all the viewers understand that's as it sits today.
Yes.
Tomorrow, 24 hours from now, you may watch this and they may have changed that. You'll be like, that guy's full of shit. No. That's at the second that we're talking right now.
This is April 13th at 12:44 because, Brian, this is like 2008 over again. Like, guidelines are changing by the second. And that's the beauty of, for me, being on a team. We have a team of rock stars that really know guidelines really well. So we meet Monday through Thursday at 9:30 every morning to cover what's changed, what's happening. So it's more like that iron sharpens iron. So when you're in a huddle, like you mastermind with the best in the business, right? When you're getting on a call every morning, people are sharing what's working, what's an alternative solution, how can we get these loans done now? So for us, it's working out really well.
Right, and I'm gonna move to my next subject, and it's something that I've talked to other big-time realtors about. Something that really excites me, and I'm gonna get your opinion on it. A cleansing of our industry.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So for those of you who don't really know what a
Yes.
cleansing is, I'll
Yeah.
give you the hard line. That is, there are a lot of bad realtors out there, a lot of bad home inspectors, a lot of bad lenders, a lot of bad anybody in the real estate industry. And anytime you have a market dip, we've always wanted, a lot of us, myself, I speak for myself, have always wanted some sort of reason for these people to be cleansed off. And of course, you don't want a market dip, and God forbid, you don't want a health pandemic, but there's going to be some positives that come out of this. And one of the things I think, and speak to this, Jeff, is you're going to see a lot of the unsavory types in our industry, and non-performers, and I think just unethical people go away.
Yeah. That happened in 2008, right? So in 2008,
100%.
when I got into this industry, you couldn't even have to know how to spell mortgage and you could give a mortgage,
100%.
right? And then in 2008, they came with background checks. They came with education requirements, and it had a cleansing, which was good. Right now, what I've been helping agents with is the iBuying platforms, right? Prior to COVID-19, it was, how do you compete? Man, real estate agents add so much value to a transaction. Most people don't understand that. I
Right.
have a list, Brian, of like 200 things that a real estate agent does on a transaction. I even have a flyer that shows, how good is a traditional real estate agent versus an iBuying platform? Like how much money it saves the seller, right? And so with this, there's been a cleansing of the iBuyer platforms, right? And I don't know the numbers, but I think like there's a few companies that are just completely out. Like there's no more iBuying platforms. So for traditional real estate agents like yourself, it's time to double down, right? It's time to call the people that that you've helped buy a house. Help call your friends, call your family. And that's really where my heart is right now, is in this time, we're all on the same team and we're all in the human race, right? So a few weeks ago, I got a call on a Sunday from a real estate agent. Towards the end of the conversation, I said, hey, how can I help? What are you looking for? She goes, I was just calling to check on you. Man, how cool is that, right?
That is great.
And in that moment, I said, that's what we all need to be doing, right? Call your friends, call your family, call your clients. Don't call your clients with intention to buy or sell them something.
Oh,
Just call them, make sure they're okay, because the suicide hotlines, those are off the hook right now because people are really having a hard time with this. And
right.
so there's nothing better than just reaching out and loving on somebody and showing them that you absolutely positively care about them with no other intention, right? Just call them and love on them, man.
Right, and I know some of the coaching I've had, they say every day you should write maybe 5 handwritten post-it notes. Pick a number, 2,
Yeah.
1, 10, whatever you want. So maybe in this time that we're in now, instead of doing those post-it, those handwritten letters, pick up the phone and give them a call, shoot them a text, shoot them a DM, whatever their preferred method of contact is. But yeah, I think there's going to be a huge cleansing. I mean, I've seen some brokerages have furloughed some of their people,
Yeah.
real estate brokers. I don't know about
Yep.
lenders. So there, the people and companies with strong foundations are going to survive. And 20% of the work, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. That's you in your industry, me in my industry. We're only going to get, this is going to make us more busy because people are going to understand the value that we add, and they're going to really seek that out.
Brian, so what, in 2007 is when I came to Victorian Finance, and our president of our company, he grew during that time period, which was an
Right.
amazing thing to watch. There were thousands of lenders shutting down at that time, and he grew. And when the Affordable Care Act came out, he read it and brought it back to the company and digested it for us. Like, how does that impact us? How can we use this? How can we grow through this? With this, he's doing it again. He's leading like a champ. He's like a wartime leader. He is saying, man, how can we get these things done? How do we figure out a way? There's got to be a solution. He's a problem solver. I know for me back in that day, it was just me and my son. And I said, there's enough business out there for one guy. I just got to wake up and go get it. And at
100%.
that time, there was a lot of lenders, belly aching, like, oh my gosh, that it's crumbling. I think I didn't grow any less than 25% every year from 2007 to 2011. So
Wow.
it's the same thing right now, right? So for the people that want to get it together, like for agents, you should be getting your CRMs together. You should be getting your database organized. You should be getting all the things that you didn't have enough time to do before
Right.
done now, right?
Right.
If you don't come out of this thing with more talent, better equipped, then it was never a time problem. It's a discipline problem.
100%.
Yeah, and you were one of those guys early on. Like you were pinging me, hey, Lagoni, you need to do this, you need to do that. And you're getting out there and you're a pioneer. You really are. Like you're one of the first people to adapt technology and get after it. And I think with this COVID-19, it's been forced adaptation, right? So people are now forced to adapt and get better.
Well, the human race is all about adapting. I mean, from caveman to where we are now. I mean, people think we got here, we're done adapting. We're constantly adapting. And I think about this, I think at least one time a day, and the world is going to change in respect to, you know, we're now learning that we don't need to physically go to church to be religious. You don't need to go to a brick and mortar school to be educated. You don't need, I mean, the world, I think, is going to have a revolution. Like there was the Industrial Revolution, there was a tech revolution. I don't know what this one's going to be called, but I predict there's going to be some sort of revolution. I feel bad for commercial
real estate
building owners and commercial real estate agents. I think you're in a world of hurts. I mean, with Amazon and you know, malls already being hurt, I think you're already on your way out. But man, we are now learning we could not only survive but thrive. You could have health calls with your doctor via Zoom or whatever. Your pets. I mean, the world's going to change for the better.
Well, the thing is, you know, you hit it. So Sunday we watched church on the TV, right? Just pulled it up on YouTube and watched it. The kids right now, the kids are in the house. They're studying. Like they're both at their desk with their iPads or computers, and they're getting their lessons done on their own. So that's on the commercial side. On the residential side, though, I got to tell you, I was on a call with Barry Habib, who for the past 2 years won the Pulsonomics Award for the most accurate economist in the mortgage space. And he had a lady on by the name of Ivy Zellman, who's a pretty powerful person in the mortgage world, or I should say the real estate world. And she was saying she felt like apartment dwellers or people living in the city, man, when this thing's lifted, they're going to want to buy their own place. They're going to want to have their own space, their own place to clean. You know, people are going to want to buy more out of the city than in the city. So there's going to be business when this lifts. There's definitely enough for everybody that wants to go after it and get it. You just got to be spring loaded and ready to get it.
And that brings up another point I want to talk about, and that is, you watch the news, which I watch a lot of news. I mean, I guess we might all be watching a lot of news. It's not all doom and gloom. There are businesses that are taking off. Zoom, Grubhub. I don't have the list in front of me, but I'm sure if I Googled it, there are jobs galore in certain places. There are businesses that are going to the next level. So, sure, we're losing. Unemployment is becoming higher. But there's also jobs out there too. It may not be equal. I think more people are losing jobs than gaining jobs, but it's going to figure itself out and it's going to right itself. And just like your kids being educated online, this is the worst platform it's ever going to be. I mean, this is the pioneering stage. This is the entry level. Technology is going to figure it out. Schools are going to figure it out. It's just going to get better moving forward. So the world's going to change for the better, my friend.
Yeah, the only thing we can count on is change, right? Once you embrace that, the only thing that's going to happen is change, and you start adapting. Otherwise, we'd still be using rotary phones, right?
Some people are like, what's a rotary phone? All right, so last question is moving forward. What do you see in the next month and beyond coming back out of this?
So, you know me, man. I always see that glass half full, right? So I think we're going to get out of this thing a whole lot sooner than everyone thinks. You know, there are hotspots. There are people that are definitely impacted by this. It's taken a toll on some people. But the overall picture, it's not as bad as they thought it was, right? The numbers aren't where they thought they were. I'm no doctor, right? But, you know, I think we're going to come out of this thing. And, you know, businesses are going to get turned on slowly. It's not going to be like a light switch, right? So it's not going to be like, hey, go out and have a free-for-all. I think everybody learned a little bit about, you know, hygiene, cleaning your hands, don't touch your face, that kind of stuff, right? But so you're going to have two schools of thought, right? There's some people are like, hey, if I'm going to die my way, right? I'm not going to live in fear, and I'm going to get out there and do what I want to do and live my life. And then there's other people that are just going to stay in, you know, and somewhere in the middle is the rest of the people. But for us in our industry, I think there's going to be a huge surge of business once this thing gets lifted. And I think what's going to happen is, you know, usually our slow season is towards the end of the year, like November, December. I don't think we're going to have that slowdown, right? I think people are still going to keep moving. The other part is this, as far as mortgage rates are concerned, and not to get technical about how mortgage rates work, but the Fed already said they have unlimited pockets to buy mortgage-backed securities, right? So the biggest purchaser of mortgage-backed securities is what determines mortgage rates is teachers' retirement unions and the government, right? So the government said, hey, you know, we got deep pockets. We're going to keep buying mortgage-backed securities. So the other part is I feel like rates, and from everything I'm reading, you know, like Barry Habib, the expert that I follow, don't be surprised if you see 30-year fixed rates in the twos sometime this year. Like once this gets cleaned out, you know, mortgage rates will stay low. right? They're not going to shoot the 5 or 6% from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing. So, rates go into twos. People are buying houses, right? People are going to buy houses no matter where the interest rates are. But, they stay that low, we're all going to be okay. You got to adapt. Like you said, you got to put those things in place, and you got to wake up every morning. You got to take a shower. You got to put your clothes on, put your shoes on, and go to work. Even if you're at home, don't stay in your PJs till 3 o'clock.
I think any fluctuation in any market, good or bad, causes people to buy and sell. So because of this, people are going to be making, they're a small, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. There's a small sect of people that are making more money, so they might buy bigger houses. And unfortunately, there's going to be some people that their budget may have got a little tighter, and they have to sell their house to buy something smaller. So there's pros and cons about that. I totally agree. I think it's going to be like a faucet, but not one that's turned on wide open out of the gate like our spring market. Our spring market would have happened now. We're seasonal in Pittsburgh. It's going to push it back to summer and drag it a little. So spring market's 3 months hard. Yeah. I think it gets pushed back 2 or 3 months, and I think it gets elongated. So I think we're going to be busy for the rest of the year right into the next spring market. That's my prediction.
That's what I think so too. Yeah.
Super cool. So Jeff, that was awesome. I like to leave everybody with a little bit of Instagram education. So I have something here about building hashtags. So a little fact about Instagram. Did you know post with a location tagged in it? A location tagged in receives 79% more engagement. So when you're posting your Instagram in your feed, or when you're posting in your stories, hit that location and let everybody know where you're at. Unless you have some sort of secretive issue, you can't do that. But I'm going to post this slide in my Instagram story so y'all can see it. I think it was a great stat. Jeff, thank you very much. Where can people find you?
The best way to get a hold of me is texting, right? So they could text us at 412-253-2853. We set appointments 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. What we find is that setting an appointment, right? So we give a calendar link and the customer can pick the time that works best for them. We found that works much better. That way we can focus 100% of our attention on that client at that time, instead of keep trying to answer phones, text, emails, Skypes, all that stuff. But yeah, we're setting appointments 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We let the customer pick the time that works best for them. So yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with us.
What's your Instagram handle?
Man, you push me into this uncomfortable zone. I have an Instagram account. I don't use it that much. I don't even know. Maybe at Jeff Lagoni.
We're going to have to talk to you about that because it's the #1 method of business is Instagram. Get on it.
I appreciate you pulling me into it, so I'll have to get better at that.
Right.
That's one thing I got to work on right now.
All right. Well, you guys stay safe. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy your day, Jeff.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brian.
All right. See you guys.